Still not a player. Man, they said NFTs were dead. I don't know if you were here last weekend. Not quite so much. How you doing, R2?
I am beautiful, my man. Everything is good. It is Monday. It is Moon Monday, and yeah, NFTs definitely not dead. Market is looking like it might be on the bounce, although in the last little bit it kind of took a tumble down. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to be excited for. There's so much to be bullish about, and I'm just pumped to be up here with you.
Yeah, man. Moon Monday, beautiful stuff. We're gonna go over the dashboard a little bit. You got your dashboard up on your screen, wolves loaded up, and all that good stuff. R2.
Yeah, I've been in the dashboard, checking off some of the boxes there and earning some resources. A lot of people have been having fun with that. And yeah, I think that's actually probably a pretty good place to start because everyone that jumped into that dashboard connected. Like we said on Terrestrial Thursday, very few hiccups. It's been good. The people that have had a couple issues have been wonderful at relaying kind of the issues that they're having with us so that we can pass it along to the dev team, get them to look into things, maybe do some tweaks here and there. But by and large, it's been really good. And yeah, so on that note, we will be updating the tasks early this week. By Wednesday, we should have a new batch of the dashboard tasks for you guys to start completing, earning more of the resources, and of course some of that stardust. How about you, Free Market? You've been in there. You've been lining up your squad there, clicking, making sure everything's working.
Lining up. I got all my generative wolves. I got my Genesis. Completely pumped. It it's one thing to know the stats, know how many wolves you have. There's something about the visualization. Some of the best times I ever had with Ether Orcs was before the game actually started because we had the light paper with their tokenomics. We were able to make spreadsheets and visualize. And while they didn't have a dashboard, this is why we thought it was so important to get something like this out because now you can strategize, think about the game. And I'll tell you, I just sat there looking, nerding for hours, dreaming about that stuff. Hey, if it's what you like, it's what you like. The dashboard was a huge step in that direction. We're super proud of it. Obviously, more to come, but yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, well, speaking of nerding out on on the dashboard and stuff like that, let's talk a little bit of tokenomics. Right now, we are in the thick of preparing the white paper. We have a couple of Discord members. I know everybody's anxiously awaiting it, but a couple of Discord members that definitely like to check in with our progress on that. Obviously, tokenomics is a big thing. People love reading white papers ahead of the game and starting to figure out how they're going to participate in it. How are we looking on tokenomics? How are we feeling about the progress on that?
Well, this is real. This is my wheelhouse. It's the part that gets me up in the morning because, like you said, it's just what I nerd out on. This light paper dives into more of the details of our tokenomics. We put out the infographic. I was able to tell you guys some stuff which you listened to, but this is going to go into general overview, soft staking, and why we view this as so important to getting on-chain gaming mass adopted. It's why we went that route. We're going to talk about specifics on Stardust. I know everyone, we talked about it being a cap supply. So we're going to get into those specifics as well. Token distribution, you're getting an initial airdrop from the snapshot that we took in the Discord. We go into that. Obviously, the other things that you're going to use Stardust for. So what you do initially with your Stardust, and we dig deep on each of those items. It's going to be followed in a few weeks by a game light paper, and these two things together are going to give you kind of your instruction manual on how you're going to approach Star Wolves. And we're really pumped. That should be out later in a few days. We're going to talk about the battle pass. We had teased that in the last infographic, and the broader universe in general, right? Where is Star Wolves going? How does it play into the actual gameplay and the tokenomics? So super excited to get that out later this week.
Yeah, and one of the things that you mentioned that is pretty unique to Star Wolves at this point because a lot of a lot of P2E games aren't actually doing this is the capped token supply versus, the uncapped token supply, where you just have these NFTs that they're going to yield whatever their native token kind of indefinitely, and then it's up to the game developers to kind of tweak and adjust the ecosystem to kind of keep up with the rates that they're being generated. As the kind of tokenomics expert and whatnot, what are a few pros and cons, or maybe not cons, but let's say challenges to having a capped supply as opposed to an uncapped supply?
Well, as we've seen with a few games, what happens with an uncapped supply is that anytime the game goes through a lull or a transition, you end up during a period where tokens just stack and you get these huge imbalances in the amount of tokens that are out there. I've always compared it to the idea of the United States being on a gold standard versus modern monetary theory. And it's about where you are in your growth cycle. We built the country or the industrial revolution part of the country from scratch. And that is what we are doing at Star Wars. And a fixed supply plays a lot better in your early growth stages. It gives the people controlling the game a lot more levers to pull along the way to make sure that the economy remains balanced. Because remember, this is a launch that we're going to go from a small niche game and trying to ramp up into something that's mass adopted. And at each point along that cycle, we're going to want to manage and make sure that there's balance in our tokenomics. The moment it starts to become unbalanced, liquidity pools can get drained, people can get discouraged, and we want to control the hype cycle and make sure it never gets too far ahead of itself. Because while that can be fun for the week or two that it's happening, it can really catch up to you, especially if you have a negative cycle or the overall market goes through something. So as we build Star Wars, because I would look at these first few seasons, the ascension from Earth, these wolves who are now becoming, they're evolving and they're going to spit. This is the beginning of something. This is the building. So as we build this universe, a fixed supply is going to give us the most leverage in creating the best value for everybody here. So, where a lot of projects are doing an unlimited, which again, long term, unlimited supply may not be terrible for them, but we have just been students of all the games that have come before us. And we think initially a fixed supply is going to be great for everybody involved. I think you guys are really going to appreciate it.
Yeah, it definitely requires some extra layers of thought process and planning out as we look towards the future as to how we're going to kind of control that and play into that. And the seasons, of course, which has been teased and mentioned in the past, is going to play a big part in that. One of the things that people really like about a game like Fortnite is, they have these different seasons and things can change pretty dramatically within those, and it does an actual it actually has quite an important mechanism in telling the story as well, and we're very excited to use it in that regard too, to kind of push the lore forward, and kind of have events that might kind of shake things up and make things more interesting. I know most people don't play Fortnite for the story, but people definitely pay attention to stuff like that, especially as they dive deep into the ecosystem. So I think that's also a very exciting thing that's gonna come with it.
I mean, remember, we view this as an entertainment property, and the reason is, we're trying to keep people engaged for the non-obvious reasons. And I think most projects, when they have short-term thinking, are not looking this way. So this just gives us the most levers to pull and control early on, so that we make sure your economy is balanced. Because as we grow, this is kind of my main directive. We never want it to get too far in one direction or the other. Fixed supply is going to allow us to do that. And we're really proud to get that light paper out with those details.
For sure. I want to turn everyone's attention to the top of the spaces there with the pinned tweets up there. First, shout out to Catfish. He couldn't make it to this spaces today But he, of course, did his Genesis Wolf spotlight. I swear, it is randomly generated. It's no joke. But we got my Trippy Wolf up there today. So go show Catfish some love in that tweet. He puts that together for us on his own accord every single Monday. And just one of the great things that we all love about Star Wolves is the community and how people kind of take it and run with it. So go check out that lore and show him some love. Catfish, I appreciate you doing that, man.
Yeah, those are really great. The descriptions and the stories behind your wolves, I think those are really important. I think that we are going to use them ourselves as they play into lore. And I've shouted him out before because he's in our spaces regularly. But shout out again to my man Don Limon, who makes the most awesome NFT printouts ever. And you got to have a description under there. So shout out to Catfish, who is actually helping all of us. Because with Don Limon asked me for a description of my wolf, I'm not quite the writer in the family. So instead of hiring NVO to write my bit, it was very nice that Catfish has undertaken these. And boy, yours looks good, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it. Love that wolf. The other tweet up there, of course, is our Star Wolves Monday tweet, and it is a just over 2 minute kind of infomercial, if you want to call it that. A lot of people have jumped into Star Wolves and say, "Oh, I just need the TLDR. Like, what am I looking at? What's happened so far? How did this all start? Like, give me the backstory and let me know where this is going." So we crammed as much information as you can in 2 minutes. And I got to tell you, when I was recording it is actually quite difficult to fit a lot of info in a short period of time. So we really tried to squeeze that into something that's short and digestible. People's attention span in this industry is very short. You got to be right to the point. And I think when we're relaying information through audio sessions like the Twitter Spaces that we're doing, or these like short little snippets, I think it's very good because 2-3 minutes is basically the recaps that people want. So if you've been excited to share Star Wolves with people, go share that tweet because I think it's going to do a really good job of getting people up to speed from essentially September 2021 when you, myself, Charlie, Scott, and NVO all started that group chat and started plucking away at the concept up until basically right now and what we're looking at over the next 6 weeks. So very, very proud to put that out, and big shout out to Scott for putting the Midas touch on that video because it's kind of a banger too.
Yeah, Drip Cult and R2 starring, right? And making it brilliant. So great job. Go check out that video. It does kind of follow our journey along, give you a quick brief on Star Wolves. Yeah, and we love it. I kind of want to talk about this free mint meta a little bit and how it plays into on-chain gaming. I think it's very interesting. R2 and I were talking about something this morning, and we kind of stumbled upon what we think is the perfect storm. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of three merging forces right now that really could serve to be a big hype cycle of not only NFTs, but specifically the play to earn games, or as we always refer to it as the play and own games. I think eventually we'll just have to only refer to that and let everybody else catch up. But for the play and own scene, and we were kind of talking through it on our show in real time, and it just kind of almost had this aha moment in real time. Tell me what your thoughts were.
Well, we we were looking at game. We saw an article today about Diablo, okay, and how it's going to cost $111,000 to fully kit out a player, like to make him whatever it's called, the most whatever the most powerful, most OP, whatever you call it. $111,000 it would cost. And I think all of us here in NFTs wondering why there's such a hindrance for someone to spend, zero point zero 0.08 on a character that lets them get into a game, blah, blah, blah. And then you go, but they go waste $111,000 on something they don't even technically own. It's bizarre, right? And we look at it and we go, well, how does a game like that survive? What supports it? I mean, there's not a you have to pay to get in. There's a freemium model built into it, right? You can pay and get the most OP utility and player if you want, but that really just saves you time. If anybody wanted to, they could start playing the game for free, commit their time, and earn their way up to this status. So we looked at kind of this free mint meta, the ETH merge that's occurring right now, which is going to really lower L1 fees to something kind of digestible. And we're saying this is a bit of a perfect storm, we think, for P2E, right? We're at a point right now where you've seen projects like Kaiju Kings with their scientist launch. Okay. What they did is they created a free mint and they gave people the option of participating in the economic side of the game. And I think what we're thinking at Star Wolves and what other on chain games are starting to realize and evolve towards is this idea of a freemium model where down the road, there must be a way for people to engage in the game for free and earn their way up to these things. And I thought the free mint meta, which is, it's very new. Um, of all people, Beanie Maxi actually called it a few months ago and said this was the way that NFTs were going to move in general. But we're seeing the beginning. This free mint, everyone's buying them and they don't mean anything, right? And most of them are derivatives or memes or just, just for fun, quote unquote, that these things are being put out. But we could see how this would apply to actual media, games, music, movies, of which people don't really pay for now. If you're going to listen to a song, you can have it for free on Spotify, for free on YouTube. Maybe you watch a little advertising, but most kids, most Gen Z, younger, they don't expect to pay for that. They expect to pay to go to the show, for merchandise, for access to the person to the star or the musician or whatever we're talking about. So I see this happening now in NFTs. I think the industry is moving in a great direction, and it just feels like a perfect storm for P2E as this sets a new standard in our industry.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really important looking forward. But there are so many things that are pointing in the right direction, and I think even just some mainstream adoption in terms of gamers, right? Like I think that those headlines that Diablo has been making $110,000 to get the max level character with the top gear and everything. I think that kind of creates an underlying desire for something new, something different that's going to change the way that gaming is. And NFTs, crypto, Web3 still has a way to go, but so many of those needs and desires and wants, and a shift of dynamics from business to consumer and more into like a peer-to-peer setting that NFTs and crypto enables is on the horizon. And I think it just takes a little bit of time for in articles like this and like my apologies, articles like the one outlining how much it costs to get max geared up, to just kind of set in stone the need for something new. And I think people are constantly going to be seeking this out. And once they find Web3, they're probably going to be here to stay, like we see so often. And that is a common theme in Terrestrial Thursdays when we talk to founders who come from a gaming background, whether it's working in games or just being a gamer themselves lifelong. They just have this aha moment where they realize the potential, and slowly but surely we're going to see that snowball get bigger and bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill. And things like ETH 2.0 with the lowering of the fees is really going to go a long way to help that, because it's easy when you've been in the NFT space or the crypto space for a long time to get jaded about some of these fees. But average people that are just getting in new, they do think about things in dollar terms. They do look at it in terms of what that dollar amount could have got them in the real world, and it absolutely does have an effect. So I think that this is going to be a huge summer, and I think ETH 2.0 is just going to be the icing on the cake. Really, it might be a catalyst, or it might have always been in the cars, and ETH 2.0 is just going to make it that much better.
Yeah, I mean, even I was quite jaded in the sense that I'm like, what? People won't pay $10 for an action in a game? But when you think, go to the App Store. even if you look at the in-game purchases, it's rare that people are going to be spending 20, 30, 50, $100 in a game unless they've gone, completely crazy and they're in the whatever, you hear those stories, but it's a lot for people to get their head around. So we're always talking about like what's the hindrance? Why can't we get the masses? Who's recognizing this before the masses are the gaming companies. They know this is, I think they know how dangerous the idea of ownership is for them. They're actually sniffing around now. I know for a fact gaming companies are sniffing around the IP of NFTs for a few reasons. One, they understand that the Web3 ownership side of this is extremely profound and a threat to their business model, so they better get ahead of it before it gets ahead of them. But the other thing is NFTs are cool. Okay, I know we make a lot of jokes as dorky and nerd, blah blah blah, but they're edgy. People gamble on them. There's a coolness to it, and 20 to 35-year-old males love them. Okay, these are the demographics that video game companies are targeting. They're dying for NFT IP, and I'm not even kidding. I know that there are high-end gaming companies sniffing around tons of NFT gaming projects as we speak. So the big boys are seeing this coming. The masses, we talk, it's a matter of user interface, the people that they trust telling them it's okay. Like if they all buy their games on Steam and Epic, as an example, well, we need on-chain gaming in Steam and Epic. And that's all just a matter of time, getting those UIs very simple and all that good stuff. But yeah, we kind of had a revelation. We're like, man, that perfect storm is right on the horizon, isn't it?
Yeah, so excited for that, and I think it's just going to be a great summer and a great 2022. I mean, the markets in terms of like the actual price of ETH or Bitcoin or Solana, like it's been pretty volatile up and down, but we're starting to kind of trade within a channel. And a lot of times when that consolidation sideways happens for extended periods of times, people start to get bored and they move back into NFTs as well. So there's tons to be excited about. I want to pull this back into Star Wolves and kind of finish off the Moon Monday announcements because we did have a couple of other ones. Number one, in the Discord, we have started our holder alpha channel. So the alpha itself will be designated to team members and Genesis Wolves, but that won't be necessarily exclusive to them. If you are a holder and you have some great write-ups and thesis, or you see the markets in a different way, or you have something that you think is going to be a great piece of intel, we can start to open that up to a few select people as well. But that will be visible for all holders to see, and of course, go ahead and discuss it in the pack chat as you will. If you want some advice on stuff, if you want to talk through some of it, it's really great to be able to have community members that you just enjoy talking to and trust and engage with, to kind of talk through things as well. You maybe see a different angle on something that you'd never thought of before, or everybody has different styles that they act upon alpha with. But it's also just important to remember that everybody's circumstance is different in NFTs. Some people are highly liquid, some people don't have a ton of liquid, some people are starting with huge stacks, some people are starting with smaller stacks. So it's always just important to remember that the information is there for you to use how you see fit, and whether it's something that fits into your style or not. So always make sure that you're playing within your means, and a lot of times just talking to people and asking for advice is a good way to wrap your head around it.
And we truly love this approach. Most projects have an alpha room. I participate in a lot of them, but unless you are really, really plugged in, so much gets lost in the noise, right? You have people asking questions, or you have people putting up memes or gifs or whatever causes noise that makes it difficult to separate the signal. So approaching it as having a certain number of experts and trusted members in there calmly discussing whatever they think the alpha is of the day. And given how quick these free mints are coming out, you may want to keep your eyes on that channel. But we really, really love this approach to alpha rooms, and we want to slowly evolve it as we see fit. So very, very excited to get that going. I love the alpha.
Yeah, 100%. And And two sides to this, everybody, we listen to everybody's input and feedback that comes in and says, we'd love to see this, we'd love to see that. We don't always implement everything, but everything is considered. And if there's a common theme or a kind of a common denominator that people are talking about and people are desiring out of the Star Wolves Discord experience, we try and find a way to do it in the most appropriate way possible. So we appreciate everybody's genuine feedback and discussion on making that happen. This is, of course, a community space too. So if you want to come up and chat with FMC or myself, feel free to put your hand up and we will, or request to speak, and we will invite you up on the stage, let you hang out with us as we start to wind this down. Speaking of somebody that I want to bring up on stage, I'm going to send an invite to our good friend Poppy, who, as of late last week, but officially as of today, has joined the Star Wolves team in a greater than moderator sense. He is going to be one of our new community leaders, the first of a few that we're looking for right now.
Hi,
Poppy had
Poppy.
Poppy had a lot of stuff going on just after the Star Wolves mint, but he was huge in helping us cross the finish line, answering tons of questions as when back in the days when the Discord was crazy before the mint, and was just such a well respected member of the community. He's worked he's kind of finishing up his school. The load has gotten a little bit lighter, and it just felt like the perfect time to start adding into our front end team. We've been hiring lots of developers and getting them and putting them to work, but there's two sides to every coin, and the community experience is one that we cherish and value so much, and I can't think of a better person to start it off than Poppy. Welcome up here, man.
He's a talker, that one.
Hey, can you all hear me?
Hey,
Yeah,
Poppy, how
yeah.
you doing, bro?
I think correct me if I'm wrong. This is your first time talking on a Twitter
My mic's
Space.
just decided to stop working. Hold on one sec.
Oh, I got you. All right. You sound fine. But yeah, so on that note, while Poppy's getting his stuff figured out, in the Moon Monday announcement, we did let everybody know that we are going to be looking for a few more. And I got to say, we've already had quite a few people reach out and express interest in this. And one of the goals that we're looking to do is, fill out some of the time zones that we're not overly active in, as like myself, Charlie, NVO, Scott, like we're all living in North America, East Coast, West Coast, and there's definitely some time frames that we're looking at fleshing out there too, for some European and some Asian times that are still active in the Discord, and we want a presence around there, kind of around the clock. And
You know
it's
when
really
I
great
figured
just
this
to
out,
have.
R2?
Yeah.
When I would say GM in the Discord, and people would go, "It's not morning for me." How many times do people say that to you a day? When you say GM, I was like,
all
"Oh,
the
I
time.
get it now. We're all in different time zones. It makes sense." All right, sorry, I had to.
No, it is perfect. Yeah, I mean, we like the saying it's always GM in the metaverse, but yeah, we're really excited to have Poppy on board as one of our team members now, and I just wanted to give a big shout out to him. Did you get your mic working, my friend?
You know what I
That's all
think?
right.
You know
Yeah,
what I
we'll
think,
figure it out.
R2? I think he's already realizing he's going to be able to retire on poppy.eth. I mean, poppy.eth. You know how desirable that real estate is going to be in a short amount of time. One word, very pronounceable like that. Woo.
Yeah.
Telling you.
Those .eth domain names are a killer. I actually saw a IRL friend of mine on Instagram changed his name. I didn't even know he was into crypto, and he changed his name to a three-letter
Ooh.
.eth name, and I was
Oh,
like, oh
fancy.
damn,
Very
good on
fancy.
him. Yeah,
You
so
know,
that should be all right.
these Yeah, these ENS names, you'll be able to lease them in the future. Think about that. Everyone's being very quick to sell to Budweiser and to Discord at 32 ETH. Why not just lease them that name? You could attach their subdomains to it, whatever wallets they want. Now, you're going to need a contract that allows you to do. Obviously, now there would be a lot of trust involved, but I would just think about the long-term prospects of leasing your ETH name versus actually selling it. Very, very interesting stuff.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Oh my
sir.
god!
You're
I
good.
turned like my when I switched to speaker mode, it like automatically turned on Spotify, and then I couldn't hear anybody. So I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh, great! Now I can't hear anything at all, and I have like a podcast going." So my brain just got like completely mixed up. But thanks for the.
Yeah, the Twitter Spaces experience is never a dull one, as you'll find. So we're just glad to get you up here. I think we'll just finish off the Spaces with you, man. And we like to talk on Terrestrial Thursdays. Get people's backgrounds and find out where they're from and what their experience is. Let's talk about you for a little bit. For those that aren't familiar with Poppy, when did you get into crypto, and when did you get into NFTs, and how did you find Star Wolves?
Man, I got into cryptocurrency probably back in 2014. I used to just like kind of I was just fascinated with the technology and just like being a huge like blockchain nerd. I was always fascinated by the utility of different types of blockchain technology. So, falling into NFT just came so natural as it is. And obviously, like I sold a lot of it, for stupid shit. Like I also like, blew it off on like the alternative coins and stuff. But for the most part, like I did pretty decent. But I've never. I transferred all my Bitcoin at one point to Ethereum because I was like, oh, Bitcoin's a legacy coin. I don't believe in it. Ethereum seems to be like way more substantial. And I mean,
You're a smart man. You're a smart man.
And I was like kind of right, but I also didn't make as much profit as I wanted, but I'm still happy with the journey that I made overall. So, and plus it got me to this point. And especially with NFTs and my like firm belief in them, I felt like when I discovered Star Wolves, I don't. We were having this conversation like last week too, or like a couple weeks ago about how I found out about Star Wolves, and it really just like the discovery was just so seamless, and it felt so natural when I like came upon like just a random trailer on a Twitter, and it just Charlie's work and like just looking at the visual, and I knew right off the bat that this was a project that I wanted to like kind of learn more about. It like sparked my curiosity ever since the beginning, and I've been hooked with the content and the community ever since. So it's been, I don't know, it's been an awesome journey because I just like was so passionate about the project from the get-go that I like did everything I could to like immerse myself in the project and continue to be curious about the project, and fortunately enough to grow with the project. So, and here I am, which I am incredibly humbled to, be considered for the role. And it's been awesome, really, because I just am so passionate about not only the project, but, and this is going to sound like super lame, but like, just the people that have been in the Discord and just watching just this community kind of grow organically and just so naturally that it's felt so seamless and it's felt so intuitive, which not a lot of communities kind of I can make that claim about. And I don't know, it's just been such an awesome ride so far.
Well, when we were discussing the starting these new positions and getting them implemented as we kind of ramp up towards the game and start to ramp up our actual marketing efforts, as we have some more substance behind the game and the dashboard and the domain and all of that stuff, you were an obvious choice and a no-brainer. So we're really excited to have you aboard, and I really appreciate your time. And I promise, guys, we didn't tell him to say any of that stuff. That was all on his own. So it's always
I have a knife in his back right now. You guys just can't see it because we're backstage.
Yeah, this is audio only, right? There's no visuals in this medium.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Free market. Is there anything else you want to go over before we start to put a bow on the Moon Monday 19?
No, just a huge, fabulous welcome to Poppy. Like we said, there is literally nobody we could have thought of better for this position, and we're so proud and happy to have him on board. Another Moon Monday in the books. A lot of news. Remember, we got that light paper coming out later in the week, Tokenomics, and Terrestrial Thursday this week. We're going to nerd out on P2E like we do every week. Looking forward to it. R2, thank you.
Always a pleasure. I'm going to drop one last little piece for you guys. Soft staking is real close, so make sure you're in the dashboard, you're completing those goals and earning those resources. And that's always important, but the soft staking component is fast approaching. So I'll leave you guys with that, and lots to be excited about in NFTs, lots to be excited about in crypto, lots to be excited about in Star Wolves. Of course, we are always hanging out in the Discord. If you want to come engage with us and chat with us, if you have hopped into this space and we're listening but don't have a Star Wolves and you want to come figure out what we're all about and come see it for yourself, jump in that Discord, come say hi. We will all talk to you. We will all engage with you. And I think you'll have a really good time. So on that note, another Moon Monday in the books. Moon Monday 19. We appreciate everyone's time so much. We appreciate you tuning in. Poppy, great to have you aboard. We'll see everybody in the Discord, and we'll be back up here on Thursday for Terrestrial Thursday.
Thanks, Poppy. Thanks, R2. See you guys next on Thursday.
Love you guys. Thanks, guys.
Later.